I will leave all these mods enabled. Why not? In fact, I will disable the seasons mod because we don't need that enabled for this. And you can get FS19's edition of V2 for FS17 of Newbie Farm on PCSG. Link will be in the description. By all means, go and check it out. This is the FS19 version I'm working on. The difference isn't too big. Wrong button. But they're big enough to be noticeable for the, because obviously now it's just a case, because in my opinion the map was finished in 17. It's just a case of just tidying certain areas up and just giving it that final look. Obviously the chickens are still where they are. We still haven't got a shotgun to shoot them, but don't worry. And now we own more of them. Now it's not a case of just having a cockerel that we have to listen to. Now we've got the whole fucking herd. And so this has all been revamped for the cow section. The back over this way was the entrance to the cows, and the gate would be somewhere around here, and you'd drive in and do whatever. And I decided they'd make sense to just make it a little bit more tighter around here and have the gate there. You might want to cut this tree down if you're bringing the dolly trailer up here for the bales, if you're planning on working in the cow pasture. But other than that just tidied that up a little bit. Took into account what BP said in the editor. Things don't look as tight as they do once in game. You can spend ages looking in the editor and going, you could move this a little bit closer to make it a little bit more tighter, and then you get into game and realise you can't get anything around there. So this was actually moved a bit further away just to make it a little bit more wider to get things in and out. And but that's thanks to BP for pointing that one out, because obviously I just basically drive around on the map. I have started a playthrough on my own, but I don't play it as often as I should. Maybe I should do a video of it one day and show you where I'm at. I don't even know what season I'm on now. I think it's season 3, season 4. Something like that. Anyway, everything that you'll see on there, vehicles, bales, etc., cows. Did I just see a cow disappear? No. Oh, yes, maybe. I'll have to watch the video back and see if that cow suddenly just disappeared, because it was somewhere here and then suddenly I didn't see it anymore. And I don't know if it dropped through the ground or went up or what, but yeah, that was weird. It didn't walk in. See, it was black and white one. It's a patched one, like this one here. I don't know. Anyway, we'll find out. Farm sim for you. The nav mesh has been sorted out, so I can't answer as to why there'd be a cow. We'll just use the excuse that UFO flew over at that point. There used to be a road back here. In fact, the whole of this this section here, that's got the, because obviously I've missed this part. The grass should have been one growth cycle up, but that'll get fixed. All of this along here was actually lower, and the cow pasture was slightly higher, so you'd have like a little canyon kind of area that you'd drive through, and it would lead you around to the back of the fields over that way. And I decided that back in the day it was viable because you had the shop over there. You'd go over there, you'd buy your vehicles, and you'd bring them back to the farm. But the farm shop's now over that way, on the main road, and well, in fact, it's over that way actually. But nevertheless, the farm shop's on the main road, and you'd have to come across the main road and cross the bridge and then bring them to the farm, unless you have them reset, of course. But regardless of how you get them here, this road back here was basically just pointless at that point. It did exactly the same as what the road over there will do, and that will just take you to the same point. So I wanted to expand the cow pasture to the hills and join these two mountains together, because I was actually going to lower this mountain here and slowly bring it up, but we'll see. Because anyone who has been playing Newbie Farm will know that I've been opening areas up, removing mountains, lowering them down, so it gives you a chance to view things. And it's not so much because it makes it more of a scenic map, even though a lot of people always, whenever I watch people say do a preview on the map or a review on the map, they've always said that it's very scenic. You know, it's a map where you can spend a lot of time just driving around and taking in the views. And the map was never designed to be scenically pleasing, in the sense that that's what I wanted the map to be. It was designed to be, well, a map. I mean, obviously it's not as realistic as it could be. There isn't any wild grass growing along the sides of hedges and hedgerows and things like that. I hadn't put the other layers in for the sub layers in for them kind of added textures, and I could completely modify the way that Newbie Farm looks outside of the default, what comes with the default editor and game. But it's a lot of work to give you a look that will make the map look a lot different. It'll make it look more realistic in terms of what a farm would look like. But this isn't what a farm would look like anyway. I mean, there'd be straw all over the place around here. It'd be dirty. There'd be clutter all over the place. You know, this is clean looking for a farm. I mean, these buildings, they wouldn't look clean. They'd look dirty. They'd be like these old, you know, because I'm not saying all farms have dirty looking buildings, but over the years they will age, and these just stand out as being, you know, brand new, built yesterday kind of structures. This blends in because it looks more natural. It's been there for a while kind of look. The farm shed or the cow barn blends in. The cow barn doesn't blend in because it's too new looking. If I'd spent the time and done the textures, I could have made it look dirty and rusty in places and gave it that look of it's been here a while. The fuel tank the same, it blends in a bit. You know, it's those little things. And this shed over here looks more natural. It blends in a lot more easily because it looks old. You can see it's old. And in one of the map reviews, a person tried to open this door back here. All that's behind there is a mountain. and that's why I didn't have it as a door that was open or could be opened. And I couldn't find anything. Excuse me. It's better. Cough my guts up. That's all. And now I'll light up a cigarette. I couldn't find a texture that could fix the doors, and I don't do model buildings, so I wouldn't know how to do that. Because you've got to take into account pixels within the model and everything, and you can have X amount, and you don't want too much because, well, the more you have, the more issues you can have on the map, and that could be laggy for people. And the one thing that I definitely credit Farm Sim 17 for is the fact that it's optimized the map, or it's optimized the game. The engine's being optimized for the game, and big steps have been made in that process. You can turn all your lights on the vehicles and work around them vehicles and not have any issues. And because of that, Newbie Farm plays so much more better. And we constantly go on about how many trees are on this map, and I'm not going to mention it because we've done it so many times, but the amount of trees on this map wouldn't have been possible in FS15. It would have been unplayable. And that's just credit to Giants with their the way that they've improved the game over the engine to work, the game and the engine to work with one another. None of this has changed up here. It's still the same. Some texture modifications are to be done up here, like obviously this grass going up the side of the mountain here, that will be changed. It's small things like that. I mean, this mountain might even become a bit flatter, not as high. I'm still working on quite a few things, to be honest. This might actually become flat at some point. I'm still going through my mind and working on changes that I could make just to open up certain areas and take away from what it was. Newbie Farm, when it first came out, was well, it was just a bland map in comparison to today. And then mountains sprung up all over the place, which was done to stop one of my testers from taking shortcuts. Tractor isn't over here, is it? No. I don't remember where I parked my tractors, clearly. But this is a new game, and if it was my loaded game, I would remember. I don't want that one. I want the Zeta, because it's a little bit faster. And oh, that was not G, that's why, that was D. Oh, I haven't got my friggin' wheel attached. I haven't plugged it in because I had issues in Flight Sim with Moondog, and I haven't plugged it in since. So we'll be keyboard driving, which is always fun, especially when you've got a wheel sitting in front of you and you're doing it by keyboard. There's not that many changes really to show. Obviously this area's become a lot narrower because it seemed weird having it so wide. but it might need to be made a little bit wider because the combine, it's got to be tested, especially here where it starts to get a lot tighter. The head, you can drive into these hedges, it's just you can't drive through them now. So there is all of the hedges are collidable, and all of these gates, I fell in love with them when I saw them on another map, and you left click and open them. They, you know, you can leave them open if you want. That's why I fell in love with them, is the fact that you don't have to, they don't constantly open when you approach them. You can, it's up to you if you wish them to stay open or be closed. In fact, there is a bigger change not far from here, in which was actually Moondog's input on the game that they're playing on their server. I have been trying to reduce some of the trees, the amount of some of the trees on the map, to just cut it back a little bit, because like I said, there is a lot on here, and one of the changes was done to remove, I can't remember how many trees offhand, but it was something close to 250, about 250 trees, and Moondog will immediately see, and in fact most of the monkey show would immediately see the change, but anyone else who's played this map in 17 will see the change as well, and which is right here. All of the trees have gone. These hills have been smoothed out a little, not a big deal, but a little, just to give you the opportunity to work this. And being a grass field, you would perhaps more or less use a forage wagon in here and pick up all the grass off these hills, or you could do square bales. Don't have to worry about them dropping through into the river down into the lake, because that's collidable. But it doesn't mean that they can't bounce over and farm some physics for the wind. You know, they could climb over the hedges, so I'd do square bales. And I wanted to keep them hills there because it gives a bit more of a feature towards this field. It makes it seem a little bit more natural. And no, the tugboat still hasn't moved. BP. Not sure what's going on there. Maybe the guys just give up. Maybe he spends all his days at the bar, you know, knocking some pints back. For all I know, there could be a football stadium not far from here, you know, he could be watching that. He could be going to there. There could be a city not far from here. We don't know, and this bridge got narrower. We don't know what is on the outside of this map, which is why, for those who want to do stories, it's okay, because you can fit so much more in. You know, you could say that there's another farm just a few miles outside, and and it could be any map almost. But those who don't do stories, the map can be fitting for other things. As some people put it, the scenic views of the map, you know, the immersion of driving along big forests or natural forests in the mountains, things like that. And in fact, this might actually change. This road might actually go over that way a bit more, and then there might be a field put back here. One, to remove a lot of trees in this area, and two, to give to give you another field. Not that you need another field on this map, you know, but it would give you a smaller field, because the further you go around, the bigger the fields get, and sometimes you need that to be coerced into buying those bigger fields, because they are a lot more work. And I mean, you could buy them and then cut them into sections if you wanted, I guess, because they are you can get those, excuse me, those placeable hedges and fences and that, so you could absolutely make a completely different feel to those big fields. This hasn't changed. Was contemplating on taking that hill down and expanding this grass field, but I kind of like the mountain back here, and over the other side it's the BGA, but I was contemplating on taking it down, and obviously I've got some missing grass here and over here. And I don't think I'm going to, because what I like with the mountains being where they are, some of them anyway, is that they break up what's on the other side, and as Farmer Klein said in his preview, the map takes advantage of altitudes or different different heights. Some things can be right on top of each other, but because you have to drive around to them, it takes a bit longer to get there. So to get to the BGA from here, you could walk over the hill, but you ain't going to be delivering anything that way, or you'd have to drive all the way up and around the corner up there, and you have to not take the, no, you do have to take the first turning. You take this turning down here and follow it straight down, and that will take you into the BGA, and the path up that way will take you into the to the left of this dirt path will take you up into the forests where we would just the path in the mountains where we was just. So, you know, but that's how I like this map to be, that everything can be on top of each other, but big distances between them. It makes you have to drive, it makes you consider courseplay as being something that you would use for delivering stuff. All these houses was put in just to take bareness away. This road was actually modified. It was all made smaller, that's why the dirt road doesn't join there. That's got to be finished. In fact, there's a bump there that needs to be fixed right there. Small things. In fact, there's quite a few little things that need fixing there, but it's small little things like that. Grass texture that's in the middle of the road over there needs to be removed. You know, I'm picky. I watch people when they play on this map, and I'm listening to what they're saying if they're talking, and I'm watching what they're doing, but it's like somebody who's racing, they ain't paying so much attention to what they're doing, so much attention to what's going on around them, etc. Well, I'm paying like 10% attention to what you're saying, 10% to what you're doing, and 80% to what's going on around you. I'm looking for faults in the map, basically. Like, I could put another tree here that, you know, I'd be looking at things like that. Another tree here takes some more bareness away. I could remove some of these trees and expand them, that field over there. I could expand these mountains further to this road and have more trees up on the mountains. Anything to give me a reason to get into the editor. I will take it, and I this is why I need Newbie Farm to be considered finished, because I can't go on forever. And I did see all of that grass back there sitting in the road, all along here as well. The same, you know. In fact, this road's actually wider than it should be in certain places. This is another change though, is this mountain used to come all the way across here, slowly sloping down, and my electric meter's beeping at me because it's getting ready to run out, which means a run to the shop in a bit. Great. Anyway, we'll ignore the beeping in the background. That's nothing. The mountain used to come back down to the road over there, and I was like, well, that mountain's pointless, to be honest. It's all it's doing is stopping people from taking a shortcut to this field. And if I'm going to have collidable hedges, then I may as well put a hedge there and call it a day. And that's what I did. And to be honest, I like it like that. It's a very small, minute change. Not many people might see it. Some people will see it. For me, it just opened it up that little bit. And small little openings like that in areas that was originally you couldn't see can make a big difference. The hill over the other side of that is something I'm currently working on. We won't be going there, but it's something I will be working on. Moondog, Zig, Draco, your shortcut through these hedges is a no-no. You're not bypassing the village anymore. Sorry. Thanks for showing me the shortcut though. Very appreciated rather. This hasn't changed from what you'd see in 17. And before anyone gets the idea, oh, the FS19 preview of Newbie Farm, I do not have FS19. This is, as you saw, FS17, hence the reason I started up on the main menu, so nobody got confused and thought, how did he get access to FS19? It's not even available yet. Reefy is doing a Let's Play on this map, and he got stuck here trying to get the fuel back to the farm, so I made the bridge a little bit wider and pushed it back a little bit further, so it gave you that little bit more turn space here, but without taking away from the fact that it's meant to be tight up here. You know, this is on an island, so you would expect this area to be a bit tighter than the main village over there, or the village on the mainland, whichever way you want to look at it. And there are certain paths that you can't take with a tractor and trailer. Like here, you wouldn't get your trailer turned, even though it would be much more of a viable route. Unless it's a really small trailer, you're not going to turn down this pathway. But there is another way of getting your trailer out. You can come in the way that you went, go out the way you came in rather, or you can go a bit further around and get out that way. Those wall textures, I like them, but the old brick wall textures, I like them, but I don't like the way that they work with one another. And they make it look too squarey looking, and which is why I've mostly used hedges everywhere, because with a hedge, you know, you can add to the hedges, you can add the foliage layers within the hedges just to give it that that look. That mountain back there might be something that will go, it might not. It might end up becoming a forest mountain up there. just just to give a different feel. It might become a hill, a grass hill back there. We'll see. It could even become a playground or part of a playground. I'm not sure yet. It's again small things that I'm considering. It's like the road going up into, in fact I'll show you, because saying where the road is and actually showing you the road are two different things, especially for anybody who doesn't know the Newbie Farm layout. But this road here, I have contemplated on removing this section out from here and removing all of this, and where it turns there, it would from here it would actually come straight around and up into here. I have contemplated on that, and then this field would be expanded across to this mountain edge. But I have contemplated on doing that, and it might still become a thing, because this road's been like this forever, and you know, some of the changes I've done have been done for varying reasons. One, to open the map up. Some of them have been done to modify the map to make it look totally different to the default maps or default map, because those of you who do not know, Newbie Farm was based on the FS11 default map, and to showcase that, if you bring up the FS default map, you look at the river, this part hasn't changed. The island's changed because at some stages there wasn't an island there. Now there's an island there in FS17, and there's a village on there. It used to be a very small island with a lighthouse on there, and it used to veer off here somewhere because there used to be a waterfall. The map was smaller than this because I've pushed the map boundaries right out, or the terrain right up to the map boundaries, so the map's a lot bigger than what it was by default. This is still the same down here. It was a harbour that was here, wasn't it? Was it a harbour there? No, the harbour, sorry, was over here, and it's this harbour that's here. And when you see the size of this harbour, you'll see how much I've pushed these boundaries out, the terrain out rather, because the harbour used to sit in here, because it's the road layout, if you look, is quite the same. Here is the same, through the village will be the same, and then it starts changing because this has all been expanded. This part will be the same, through here's the same, except this road from here used to go straight down. I've took it round there. Basically all of this road's the same till it gets to here, and that's why I'm thinking about changing this section of the road and having it so it comes from here up into the mountains. And just small little changes just to break it up from the default map, because here there used to be a bridge on the default map, a bridge there, a bridge there. I think the other bridge was somewhere here, and then a bridge back here. Now there's a bridge here, and then there's a bridge here, and the road used to come around here and then join up to the other bridge that was somewhere around here. And where the cow pasture is where the cow pasture was in FS11. It's just been expanded and modified, and the farm's been moved from where the field 27 is to here. So the history of Newbie Farm and how it began is from the FS11 map, from playing FS11, from playing many maps that was broke, that didn't function correctly to modifying them so they would work. Turn the engine off so it's not so loud. From modifying the engine, not the engine, the map to work correctly. You know, I spent many nights working on people's maps that they had physically released as functional, so that myself and a few members of my family could play, and only to find out that they didn't work so correctly. So I would be fixing them and then giving them the fixed version so we could play, and then it was like, well, I may as well just take the default map, modify it to work how I want it to work, manipulate it in my ways, and then we'll all play that. And that's what I did. And originally in FS11, you know, I didn't take it serious as in map editing. I wasn't building a map to release to the public because I wanted to showcase my skills. I wanted to just make a map that my family and I could play. And although I released it, I thought, I was like, well, if I'm going to enjoy it, then I'll let other people enjoy it. You know, I don't mind sharing. And it became a popular map in FS11, and I was surprised. And so that was how Newbie Farm became. It was because of the public acceptance of the map that it became a map that was constantly being updated to each version of Farm Sim that came out, 13, 15, now 17. And as long as it's possible in 19, which I can't see why it wouldn't be, it'll be on 19 as well. So I don't think there's anything else I can actually show you. Newbie Farm FS19 is still work in progress, and it will probably continue to be work in progress until FS19 comes out, to be honest. And even after FS19's come out, it will still be work in progress. Scary, but true. And the reason I'm doing it now is because then that means I'm hoping that I can stop with this fantasy that I can make the map better and publicly announce Newbie Farm as being a finished map. And we will see what FS19 brings into as to how much work it will be to port this into FS19. I do expect one day there won't be a Newbie Farm on a new one on the latest version of Farm Sim, because at some point Giants will change the way that they make that map making is done at some point. And that will be a sad day for myself, obviously, because I've enjoyed working on this map. I've got more hours in the editor than I've actually got in the game. And instead of sitting here, let's go and look at the cows, see if one of them suddenly disappears while we're watching nothing, or while I'm rambling on and you guys are watching. You know, you might see something that I don't, and we'll keep it on that view, because the cow disappeared over by the barn to our left, so could have been a bird going up that I saw, and the cow just walked on and magically changed its skin to a brown or pure black. And all this time I've been on set 5 times. Not that it makes any difference, because this isn't a playthrough or anything. Um, I that was it. I was saying how many hours I've got in the editor, and which is thousands compared to the game. I could combine all of the games from Farm Sim 11 through to 17, and I could guarantee that I've got a lot more hours in the editor than I've got in all of those games combined. And FS11, I would have had a lot of hours had it been on Steam. I'd have been able to tell you, but I had the disc version, and I had a lot of hours in that game. I'm going to be bold and say I had over probably close to 900 to 1,000 hours in the FS11, FS13. I can't remember how many hours I've got in that, to be honest. Let's have a look, shall we? I know I've got fewer hours in FS. Well, for starters, we can see 437 hours in FS17. But Farm Sim, that's Football Manager. Farm Sim 15, 208. Farm Sim 13, 276. I wasn't that keen on Farm Sim 15. I just couldn't get into it. And it wasn't Farm Sim or Giant's fault. It was just the way that they introduced in forestry. They basically threw it in, then overpriced all of the logs. Basically, was just too easy to make money from, and that put me off straight away because I like difficulty. I like a challenge, and Newbie Farm was built on a challenge because I've always played that once you get to the point where you've got all the big equipment, you start going, well, it's boring. You need a reason to continue playing the map. And for some people, that's making a story and making a story for it that plays well and that they can stick to. Some other people will perhaps have it that they have to replace their stuff every so many seasons if they're playing within a season kind of mindset. And there is a mod where you don't have to have seasons in, you just have a calendar effectively that tells you what month you're in or what portion of the season you're in. And you know, you could say every 2, 3, 5, 6 seasons you have to replace all of your equipment, so you're working to constantly make the money to replace with things as and when it's necessary. You know, there's many different ways of playing to bring the longer to make a map last longer, or the playthrough on the map to last longer. But there's so many maps out there that people swap and change maps faster than they would probably care to share. But for me, Newbie Farm was built for me and my family to play on, and I want to play on it, you know. And other than FS11, I didn't play on this map. The only time I played on this map was in testing. And FS17 with seasons, and made me want to play it, but didn't give me the urge to literally jump in and play it. Hence the reason I've made it so you start off with cattle, because then it gives me that urge that, you know, I've got, other than agriculture and forestry, I've got animals to care for now. I don't care about the chickens. The chickens can all, you know, disappear, die, whatever. I'd rather shoot them and cook them and eat them, but I can't do any of that, so, and I don't have to feed them. And if I did have to feed them, I wouldn't feed them, because eggs well, chickens are a pain in the ass in this game. And I wish Giants had made it so you could buy the chickens in up to a certain amount, and then that would be it, you know. But unfortunately they didn't. And I don't know why it does that sometimes. And it's not a map issue, it's it just happens. I've had that happen on the default map as well, with no mods in. And it could, well, it can't be my hat track because it's not plugged in. But I've seen it happen on quite a few maps, in fact. I think it's maybe a cow would walk past me and it caught the trigger because I've got the no collision trigger on, camera trigger, and I think that's the one that causes it. For modded maps. In fact, no, I haven't had it happen with no mods in. It's only happened with mods in, so it could be that mod that a cow would walk past. I don't know. I never really paid attention. I've just gone and fixed the camera, and then it's gone to doing what you was doing. Anyway, I think I better end it here because I will keep talking and you will fall asleep, or you'll just stop the video if you haven't already, which I don't blame you if you have. So thanks for watching, and I will speak to you all later. Bye.